right. I just accepted Keita, so she should be on. Hey, Keita, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Lauren. How are you?
I am good. It is so exciting. I'm so excited to see you and just this energy and this flow. I love the pink.
Thank you. It's good seeing you. I love your bubbly personality. I mean, it's amazing. It's always a burst of sunshine every time I see you. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. So I know that we connected a minute ago, maybe like a month or so ago.
Yes.
And, you know, for me personally, for the audience out there tuning in, like I love having people of color kind of drop me lines to say, hey, like your page speaks to me. And, you know, I really like that's kind of what our connection was. And it was awesome because that's why I do what I do. I mean, it's for everyone, but really I want to shed light on the community and all of that. So like this could not have come at like the right time, right?
Yes, I mean, it's perfect timing. Perfect timing for my life, like everything that is happening in my world. This is perfect timing. Your platform just gives the Black community and those like myself a voice, right? Yeah. So, perfect timing. Yes, absolutely.
So, Keita, let's get started. So those of you who are tuning in, and I know some folks have actually told me in the past that I guess they don't see when I'm going live. So if you are seeing this later, thank you for your views and all of that. Pass this along. But this is the third episode of DQ Debrief, which I am so excited about. I think consistency is key for everyone out there to kind of see, you know, who the new guest is, what we're going to talk about, and we kind of know what we're going to talk about. But obviously, everyone's story is different. So, Keita, I want to give you the floor. Like, really, the biggest thing I want to kind of take away, and we're going to let this conversation flow, is I really want to know, like, what is your story? What is your journey? When were you diagnosed? All that. So I'm going to leave it to you to share your story.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lauren, and welcome everyone that's joining the broadcast on my platform, Keita A. Pratt, and on Think Dyslexia page. So thank you all. Thanks, Vance. Thanks to my mom and Latrice and my brother Keith. So I appreciate you all for joining. So pretty much, I am Keita A. Pratt. Before I was Keita A. Pratt, I was Keita A. Tucker. And pretty much I am a dyslexia adult. And I have been living with dyslexia all of my life. I knew that I had a learning disability. That's what it was called, that I knew of when I was in the second grade. I was 7 years old. And so I wouldn't say I was diagnosed with dyslexia at the age of 7, but I was deemed to have a learning disability, right? So I went through all of my schooling years taking special ed classes and classes to assist me with my reading, writing, and pronunciation, and so on and such. That being said, since the process of me not embracing dyslexia, because I didn't know dyslexia was a word until I became and that being said, when I heard the word dyslexia, it empowered me. It empowered me to be able to attach what my learning disability was to something that I could see tangibly, right? So pretty much throughout my schooling, this is the things I had to do throughout schooling. I was literally picked and bullied and talked about, and I hid behind staircases. I waited till bells literally were about to ring so that people, when I see me walking into the special ed hallway, because it was a hallway dedicated to those like us, right? So the stigmatism of having to go down these classes, like this hallway, and having other people see me and talk about me, you know, after school, throughout school, like, oh, she's dumb, she's stupid, she rides a short bus, and blase. So I'm like, okay. So pretty much I lived through that through all my schooling years. Now, for me, reading and writing, it gave me anxiety to the point where my mother took me to see, a doctor regarding, was this something that could be changed? Was this something that could be altered? Was she ever grow to this? Is this a phase? And pretty much, I mean, it was not like a diagnosis, but it was more like she'll get better in time, and that, you know, there's really no interventions or anything we can do to assist her besides whatever the schooling was giving. Right now, 30 years ago, the technology and the different things that they have today, we didn't have that 30 years ago.
Right.
So, so 30 years ago, I remember in one of my special ed classes, it was a pen. It was like a pen you can highlight and it reads out loud to you. They were coming out with it, and that was 2002 to 2000. So these are some of the things that I was introduced to as I was leaving out of high school. So now, that being said, with me being dyslexia, now the life of me being dyslexia. So I wanted to join the military. I couldn't pass the ASVAB test because my anxiety was through the roof. I was too anxious. I couldn't read it. I couldn't comprehend it. So I flunked out of it. Now, my hope and dream was to be a nurse and in the military. I took nursing school, and in school we had like extra, you know, you could go to another school to take extra courses so that when you came out of school, you would have a trade. Well, I couldn't do nursing because when I was in the program, the teacher asked me simply, hey, you know, if you are a lying cheating nurse, you would kill somebody in the process. So if you're taking this course, you need to be serious about what you're doing. Now, at the time, my late stepmother, she used to help me with trying to read and comprehend this information, but I could never understand it.
Right.
So I had to drop the course because I could not sit with my conscience to be cheating off papers. And yes, that is what I did. I had to literally cheat off my other classmates' paperwork so that I can literally get by. So I could get by. And I would have never graduated out of high school if I never had a special ed teacher that assisted me in the process to take some of these tests, these standardized tests that I had to pass in order to get a high school diploma. So he politely pulled me out of class and read the questionnaires and allowed me to select them. Now, if I hear it, you can read it, I can grab it. But me having to read it myself, it was very challenging. And so with the writing portion, I had to write out the portion, but the teacher came back and said, okay, put a punctuation here, put a period here, capitalize, put a capital T here. So it was not like they were like literally doing it for me. It was like the assistance, right? So now, as me being a grown person, now the stigmatism of what I come through. Now, my parents did not understand all this. So you know, people would say, well, you know, yeah, of course we want active parents. That is true. But if my parents not understand what is happening with their child, it's kind of agitating and frustrating for them. And they're thinking that they have the assistance of the school to be able to assist people like myself. Well, the school did all they could do. Now, that being said, I ended up falling into other curriculums that I wouldn't have had desire to do if I didn't have low self-esteem, and if I didn't need to be validated. So now with the stigmatism of me not reading and writing, I took on other people personalities and the makeup of other people. That means literally I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my foundation was because I felt like whatever everybody kept telling me I was dumb, I was stupid, I was not enough, I couldn't accomplish this, I was never going to be this because I couldn't do the normal things that people say is normal, right? So I literally, you know, became a exotic dancer, and I did years because I used what I had to gain what I wanted because I felt that was the only way that I can obtain some decent living, right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, I did that for a few years, and God opened up a door opportunity for me to go overseas, to Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and Dubai. Now, how did I do that? As me being dyslexia. Now, that being said, this is how God worked this thing out so perfectly for me. In the process of that, you have to take tests to get into to get over there, to make sure you understand,
right.
You know, like what is happening over there, the way of living. So there were people in the course that I was taking to go overseas for the job I was working, and literally assisted me with taking these tests. Like, they would tell me the answers to some of these tests. Like, okay, no, that is this one, that is that one. So now, at the luck of the draw, it was kind of God's destiny to move me out of my environment, to move me into another environment, to shape my mind frame to be something that I never thought I could be, because of the stigmatism of what people say dyslexia is. So that being said, so how did I function all these years? So here's the deal. I had to literally self-teach myself. I literally had to find different things to help me. I had to find literally a safe haven of people that I could share my disability with.
Struggles, yes.
Right, so that they could assist me. So in the process, I needed, how do I want to say, the person, those people to be
Your tribe.
My tribe. Yeah, I couldn't get the word. My tribe. I had a tribe of people that assisted me. First, it was my mother and my brother. And then it was, my husband. At the time, he was a friend when I met him. I had people that I worked with that I confided in. Hey, this is my shortcomings. And they will come in and support me. I will call and say, hey, can you spell this? Can I email this to you? Can you read this to me? So I had to find my tribe in order to be successful. I had to literally, I have to constantly repetition. I had to continuously read stuff over and over and over again to understand it. And on top of that, now everything, like I had to do text to speech. Was text to speech like that 10 years ago? No, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't so, it's like now it's cool. But see, it's something that as a dyslexia, it's something, it's a need.
It's a combination.
Yes. So for me, the text-to-speech software is what I use. Different Audible. I listen to a lot of books. Like I'm Audible, so I love to listen. I love to listen. I love to educate myself. But the way I have to educate myself, I have to go to the extreme in order to obtain something. So now you have all these apps out there. So I have multiple apps on my phone to assist me with getting the information that I need to understand it. Now, this is the thing. You say, okay, well, how does she function day to day with her 9 to 5? Well, now everything is Microsoft. In Microsoft, you have Microsoft emails. It reads to you. You can speak into your microphone or your headphones, and literally it writes out this information for you in your email. So I found the things that work for me, right? And the first thing I had to do, I had to admit the fact that, okay, this is who I am. I am dyslexia, okay? Because sometimes you can't embody something and get the need because you don't want to be truthful with yourself. So you end up hiding in the shadows, and that's why some of us are in prison. Some of us are on the street selling drugs. Some of us are in prostitution. Some of us are in these jobs that we don't desire to be in because we feel so ashamed of the ability that we shouldn't feel ashamed about. We should feel empowered with it, because at the end of the day, being dyslexia, I've learned my self-value and my self-worth through the process that I have been going through, the journey of I'm very creative. I'm very, I'm really good with my my creativity, my thinking. I don't think like anyone else. I bring that extra spunk to the conversation. My thing is I analyze everything based on I get a full understanding out of something when I speak. I mean, being dyslexia, it's amazing. It's my superpower. It's my superpower that I have embodied, and I am so proud to say I am am that girl. I am that face. I am Keita A. Pratt, and I am dyslexia. And I'm not ashamed about something that it was a God gift to me. See,
Right.
I allowed the world to say, hey, I allowed the world to put their labels on me. But I had to get a new identity in who I was. And that was because I anchored myself in something, a higher power that I could, that could understand me and show me who I was and my self-values. And I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let you kind of...
No worries.
And so pretty much, you know, it was a conversation me and Dr. Lauren have, you know, as far as me being a minister, a pastor, and so on and such. This is the thing. So me being an inspirational, motivational speaker, it stems from the fact of my shortcomings. I needed something to empower myself. And me and my spirituality, that was the empowerment for me. So I used my spirituality to get an understanding of who I truly was. Because I didn't understand this little Black girl that was raised in the projects and literally, you know, was in special ed classes and, you know, could barely read or write. And I wanted to know who she really was. Like, you know, I know I'm more than this, you know. So now I use the word of God to empower, motivate, uplift people, because that's what I found my hope in. And so now, you know, people see me reading the word of God. They see me inspiring and motivating. But see, I use the Bible to assist me with being comfortable to be able to stand up and read. So I'm reading the Bible, but the Bible is reading to me audibly. So I'm looking at it and I'm reading it. And it's a true story. It's a true book. And it makes sense to my life and it touches me. So I use that because it has been a help to me. And I wanted to share that with other people. But now I'm in this place, I'm in this area in my life that God is telling me to stand up and rise up. And it's time for people to hear my story. That, you know, they see this perfectly made up little Black girl or this Black young woman. And it's like she's perfect. She has everything. There's nothing wrong with her. But all these years I've been hovering, covering, and doing everything to disassociate myself from literacy called dyslexia for me.
Right.
But told me, no, it's time for you to rise up because people are looking for you. People need to know that they're not in this by themselves. Parents need to know that. Little Black girls, little Black boys, that, you know, that they're not alone and that they don't have to allow their disability to literally provoke pain, but it can provoke power if we get in there early with the interventions. We can get in there early with showing them, like giving them information on how to self-advocate for themselves, basically so they can tell people, hey, this is how I learn better. These are the things that I need, you know, so on and such. So we need to train them early. We need to help them with self-esteem, self-awareness, pretty much positive traits. And that's what God is leading me to do in this season. So that is what I have embodied, and that's where I'm going forward in. And I'm done speaking. Go ahead, Dr. Lauren.
No, I love it. You took us to church. I love it. No, this, like, honestly, hearing your story, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that. And it, you know, I just feel that you touched on so many areas for the Black community. I mean, you shared you were an exotic dancer and people go to jail. I mean, these are things that I feel passionate as a Black educator. In my experience, it's like, you know, so many folks think this is a whitewashed disability, and it's not. It's just that we know how this country works, and we know that Black folks and brown folks are not as thought about as our counterparts. And so it's quite simple to just have little people go down the hall to special ed to Miss Jones or whatever it is you need to do, close the door, you know, her feelings don't matter, but, you know, we're just going to pass her along. And it's like the self-esteem aspect. I mean, there's so many things you touched on. And I want to say from my experience, because I always let my audience know I am not an adult with dyslexia, but I am neurodiverse myself. And I had my PhD diagnosis at 21 when I was a senior in college, because very similar to you, I had self-esteem issues. And I thought I was stupid. And I thought this, that, and the other. And I used my other strengths, like talking all the time. You know, I love doing this and voice threads and connecting with folks. And I'm always trying to connect and network. But I was always the little Black girl that was in trouble. And it was because I didn't feel empowered. I didn't know what was wrong. And I'm assuming in your house, like, I was always in trouble. Like, it was always like, what's the teacher gonna say? You know, my mom would get mad, you know, I would be grounded. I don't know if that was similar in your house, but it was a kind of thing where when I had this diagnosis, I did feel like, wow, this is what's wrong with me. And then I went on the journey of figuring out, what does this mean? And you know, for me, it was like, oh, this is why. And I think that's what I'm trying to make that connection with you. You then felt empowered, like, this is what was going on. Now I can do my self-exploration. And now you can have these transformational conversations and speak your truth and the gospel and all of that. And I just think, you know, so many people need to hear these stories. And I interviewed a Black male who's a retired NFL player. I don't know if you saw that interview on my YouTube channel, but his story was similar. It parallels to yours, where, you know, he just didn't have the supports, and grandma didn't know, and grew up in the projects. I mean, all these things. And I'm just like, we got to do better. You know, when we know better, we do better. And so, you know, that's really my sole purpose. You know, I have two missions right now for Think Dyslexia, and one right now that I'm really focusing on is moms, empowering moms to know, first of all, we have the mom gut. We know something's off or not right with our kids, but we can't have schools just say, oh, don't worry about it, or like, you know what, he'll grow out of it, she'll grow out of it. Like, we need to have moms that feel empowered to say, what are the dyslexia laws in my state? What are, you know, is there a handbook? What does the school district do? I know Patrick from last week's episode, he tuned in, he commented and he said at his school, the SLP, the IEP will say SLD. Some school districts won't even put dyslexia on it. So I want moms to feel empowered to have this information, to know what dyslexia is, to know how it impacts your child, and not just your child, but your family. Because maybe, Keita, maybe your mom was dyslexic, maybe your dad was dyslexic, maybe dyslexia runs rampant in your family and you had no idea, you know? So there's so much power in what you shared. And, you know, I'm just so grateful that our paths have crossed. Because, I mean, really, like, we will continue to do the work. And, you know, just like in episode 1, James Fu, he's Puerto Rican. You know, this means a lot to him, where he's like, my mom speaks Spanish and still is like, I don't understand. You're like, you're successful. What do you mean you're dyslexic? You know, like, there's that understanding of it's a spectrum. You know, just because this person is X doesn't mean that they're not dyslexic. I mean, dyslexia presents differently in different people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm so grateful for you to share your story. And as I always say, if you would love to do a part 2, I am all for it, because I just feel like you have so much to offer and so much to give. And I feel like we got some great engagement here.
Yeah.
From folks that really felt like your story was powerful. And when you talked about Audible, I saw comments. I love Audible too, because I know for me, with my ADHD, like, I have, you know, sometimes I'm bouncing all over the page. So I like to hear the story, to hear the flow. And also I like, you know, the voices. And it makes it a better experience.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
Go
ahead.
So pretty much, I would definitely love to do a part 2 in the realms of right now. I am working on my 501c3, my organization regarding dyslexia, because I definitely feel like you have those like yourself that is in the arena to, assist with, a different aspect of dyslexia. So is myself. So my thing I am called to do is pretty much, transform their minds. A mind, like I say, mindset, transformation, dyslexia strategist. That's pretty much what I am. When I say this is because I am to assist with confidence and self-esteem building, because I know what it did for me, right? I didn't have when I became an adult, because I didn't know that I could live with this and to be able to be successful. And I think that it's necessary that I bring to my community and those around me the information on, hey, what is dyslexia? What is it? What isn't it? What is the misconceptions of this? How do we live a fulfilled life with dyslexia? Because as I got older, I got better.
Right.
Has it eliminated? No. I still have my shortcomings. But as I grow, I understand that. But being a child, you don't understand that. You think that this is where my mind is going to be all my life. I'm never going to leave this point. I'm going to be here and I'm not going to obtain nothing. I'm not going to be it, right? But I'm here to change the conversation and say, listen, you may have dyslexia, but dyslexia doesn't define your future.
Right.
So now I want to have that conversation with, okay, let's pretty much introduce this to our community, what it is, what it's not. Let's also talk about self-awareness. Let's talk about self-esteem. Let's talk about, your tribe. Let's talk to some people. If it's not your mother, if it's not whomever, let's find a safe haven to talk to. Now, as you stated before, dyslexia it runs in families.
Yes.
Now, do I have family members that have dyslexia? Honestly, I know they do. Do they admit it? No, they don't. Because because back in the day, they think that, this is just something that they deal with, and this is not, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to be quiet about this. We're not going to tell anybody about this. Like, it's a secret. So now the secret is literally festering in you because it's like, you're like, look, it's something going on with me. I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to be able to share this with, right? So now it's like, it's time for us to have the conversation. It's time for us to literally talk about, okay, what are those triggers? Like, what triggered you in this moment? Like, why, and let's talk about, far as, how do you feel about yourself? Like, what do you feel about let's get those negative things out of you, and let's work on your strengths. Let's build on your strengths. Exactly. That's what we want to build on, because see, here's the deal. That's how I've been winning all my life.
Yes.
I have my strengths and I use them suckers and I build it, and I have the lifestyle that I desire to have, and I'm moving into the life that I desire to obtain. But see, first I'm like, listen, I had to literally get honest with myself, and I literally had to find that tribe. So that's what I'm working on right now.
I love that.
That program that I'm bringing is literally educate to motivate, and educate to motivate based on self-esteem and confidence building. So you will definitely see more from me. I'm kind of quiet on my social media these days because I'm working at it. I met you. I have been over here working tirelessly, trying to make sure that I get my stuff up and running, because more people like us need to continue to collaborate to bring this conversation to our community. So again, Dr. Lauren, thank you so much for taking your Saturday out.
Yes.
Who has joined us on this live. Thank you so much. And I definitely look forward with connecting to you. I definitely look forward to logging onto your app, because you got this app that I definitely want to purchase this course.
Yes.
Course out there, because as a dyslexia, we still need to be informed on different things that's taking place, with dyslexia, and we want to be able to be trending, and we want to have the latest information. So I definitely going to get this course, because as I'm still learning about my own shortcomings, I'm still learning about this, dyslexia, and so thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yes. So those of you who are not quite sure what Keita's talking about, you can find the link in my bio. It is an app that I am developing. It is a web app as of now. So I have an Understanding Dyslexia course. It's on sale for $97. It's about 3 hours worth of content, practical stuff. So it's great. And then I also have 2 other presentations I've done. One is specifically, this is appropriate to this content, about Black dyslexic in American schools. It's a 35-minute presentation I did for the Dyslexia Institute UK right before the pandemic hit, actually. It was like my first virtual presentation I did. It's heavy hitting, so if there's some white folks out there that might get easily offended, I'm just giving you a warning. But I feel like us Black folks will be like, oh, okay. So that one's $25. And then I have another one specifically on dyslexia and families, and it's a support for teachers to understand how this impacts families and all of that. And that one is about 45 minutes and it's $25 too. So check out the link in my bio, guys. And Keita, let's do a part 2 to focus on that transformation education piece, because I think that mindset is critical. So thank you so much for your Saturday morning, and we will connect. And everyone, thank you so much for popping on and share this video